Welcome to Read 536. This is the explanation of your Curriculum Evaluation and Innovation Final Projects. Alright, so this is kind of our signature assignment that follows after our key assignment, which was the triangulated analysis. And so for this final assignment, you're going to be applying what you've learned in this course and what you learned through your triangulated analysis to the creation of your own program. Essentially what we're going to do is you're going to create a unit for your area of reading and literacy that you've been studying that really reflects your understanding of best practice in this area. So overall, this entire assignment should demonstrate that you understand the learning theories and some of the theoretical perspectives that we've discussed this semester. You should have an understanding of best practices in your area of reading or literacy. Your understanding of aligning activities or lessons to a set of standards or your activities, and should demonstrate appropriateness for the grade or the classification of students that you're going to serve in this unit. So one of the interesting things about this project is, depending on where you kind of end up with your reading specialist credential or certificate, if you had a position as a reading specialist in a K-12 setting, you most likely will actually have to do this in practice. So lots of reading specialists work on intervention or with intervention groups, and so you need to create units or use programs to meet the needs of the students that you are going to be working with, or you need to be working with teachers to help them modify and adapt commercial programs or their programs that they use to help meet the needs of particular students. So this is a very practical assignment and something that you will actually have to use. If you're in the community college setting, if you're already there, you know that, often you need to create your own syllabus or create your own program. Even if you're provided with the materials or the text or the things that you're going to use, you're still responsible for the instructional decision making. So what's actually going to happen in your class and what you're actually going to have students working on. So again, very practical assignment. So that being said, many of you understand that this semester, Read 536 has kind of been a rework in progress. So I mentioned to you before that in the past, some of these assignments didn't quite work for many students, and so I was really trying to break them up into pieces and streamline it. So part of that then for this assignment is that there's a lot of freedom and flexibility in terms of how you're going to format this project and what it will look like. So we're looking for kind of evidence that you understand the things that we've gone over this semester, but that your program is somewhat innovative, or it's comprehensive enough that it addresses the best practices in your area of reading or literacy. And so it kind of doesn't lend itself well to providing, let's say, a template or a bulleted outline that goes with it, because I want to see how you conceptualize and how you apply the things that you've learned. So I'll give you some ideas at the end of this PowerPoint of what it could possibly look like, but I really don't want to set those parameters for you. I want you to see how you can put what you've learned to use, because that's what you would actually have to do out in the real world. All right. So that being said, there is going to be criteria. So you've got a grading criteria sheet, you've got a description of the assignment that I posted on Titanium, and then there are specific things that I'm looking for. And then if you look at the grading criteria sheet, I've actually put points on that sheet for some of the specific items that I'm looking for. So you can get a good idea when you reflect on your assignment before you turn it in, how many points you needed for each of those pieces, and did you address what was described in the resources that was given to you to create this assignment. So one of the things that should be a common strand that's running through many of your classes is this creating this definition or this idea or vision for an excellent reader. And so I'd like to see at the beginning of your project, so you have two narrative pieces of this assignment, and this is the first narrative piece. So in 250 words or less, your project should begin with your description and your vision of an excellent reader. So what is an excellent reader? And this is your own definition of vision, so you don't need to go find this in one of your books. But what is an excellent reader? What type of readers do you hope to develop as a teacher? What should excellent readers be able to do? What do they use reading literacy for? Why is this important? So this vision, I'd like to see it in this assignment, and you come back to it in several other courses that you take, because this really is what is helping to guide the instructional decisions that you make, and informs kind of that overall culture of literacy that you create and you support in your classroom. So that's one of the things that must be in your project, and that's like, is it a narrative piece? The second narrative piece, which is in no more than 1,000 words, is a description of program. So first, that needs to define or describe what a unit is and give a rationale for why this is an appropriate unit. The reason I'm not telling you what a unit is because you all looked at different programs. And so let's say if you looked at, Houghton Mifflin or Open Court, a unit is usually 5 days and is covered in a week. If you looked at an intervention program, it may be, 10 lessons that all go together that form a unit on XYZ. If you're in the community college setting, it's perhaps your syllabus is chunked into more thematic units or units around a particular learning objective. So whatever unit you create should either follow or be similar to what you analyzed in your program, or if you've decided that the way it was done in the program you evaluated is not sufficient or is, in your mind, not evidence of best practice, then describe how you are conceptualizing a unit and why. So give your rationale for why you have created or chunked or grouped it together this way. So you're not creating an entire comprehensive program. Really what you're doing is you're giving me a snapshot, right? And it's going to also be specific to your area of reading and literacy. So if you're, in the 5th grade or middle school program or high school program, you don't need to create a year-long program or semester-long or quarter-long program for vocabulary or for comprehension or for all of them. You need to just focus on one small unit for your area of literacy. So if you looked at, let's say, vocabulary, it's realistic that that's only going to be 15 minutes of a total reading time. So it's fine that if your unit is 5 days, 5 vocabulary segments. You don't now need to take vocabulary and stretch it out into a 55-minute lesson each day. You're just revamping how vocabulary is done, or fluency, right? So in a fluency is either done, not done, many times done poorly. How are you doing fluency across that unit? So it doesn't mean now that the entire day or the entire literacy period needs to be spent on fluency, but how are you going to strengthen or create an innovative program of fluency that's going to fit into the larger instructional program? You should describe who the program or the unit that you're creating is appropriate for. So are you looking, what age range, if you're doing interventions in terms of age or grade level ranges, what specific grade level? Are you tailoring it to meet the needs of any specific population? So English language learners, GATE students, special education, struggling readers in general. Is it for an ESL class? So what what's your target population? And so then part of your description after that should include, a rationale for your program. So describe the thinking behind your creation of it. So we already heard about why you picked the unit, and we already heard who the program is going to serve. But then let's hear you talk about what theoretical perspectives influenced your choices. So did you model it around family literacy theory or social constructivism or sociocultural theory? Was there a particular theory of literacy development that you feel influenced it? Is it evidence of a comprehensive literacy program? Is it balanced? Do you draw from several theories? So here I'd like to see some discussion of the choices you made in reference to the learning theories. Is it a good balance between a phonics and a whole language program? What is informing your decision making in terms of learning theory? And it does not need to be just one. As you did through your training grade analysis, saw evidence of many theories. And so you can discuss perhaps some of the major influences that you're going to incorporate into your description, because we saw that through your analysis that usually there are many different theories, but there is a reliance on 2 or 3 theories in particular. Oops, sorry, the battery went in there. There we go. Oops, sorry. That should also then include a rationale for using these theories. So why do you feel that application of these particular theories is appropriate for the program and the students that it's supposed to serve? All right, so then you have the actual program. So here you're creating a unit that shows what would be taught for your area of literacy. So this is going to be unique to your program, right? You can create a template that looks similar to what you'd find in a commercial program. You could create more of a teacher's edition that has more explicit instructions. You could create lesson plans. It could be a section of the syllabus. So I'm going to show you after this a couple of examples, like I said before. But regardless of what you create, they should all have some common criteria. So they should have, you should identify the text that you're going to use for the lesson or lessons, right? So all units, except perhaps if you're focused on writing, should be grounded in text. If there's a reason that you're not using text, or these are not grounded in text, then you should explain the rationale for that. If you're focused on something with the younger students, like phonics or phonemic awareness, you can include your use of teacher read-alouds and decodable text, or any other accompanying text that's appropriate to support that unit. But they all should have some sort of text, or you have a very strong rationale for not using it. The activities and the lessons, the day, the section, however you're kind of breaking it up, should have objectives, and they should be aligned to standards. So the objective should clearly describe what student outcomes these activities or the activity is intending to achieve, and then that objective should be linked to a standard. So draw from the Common Core standards that you looked at for your grade level, or if you're community college, draw from whatever set of standards you use to evaluate the program you looked at. Use those standards. But try to link them and try to have them linked to your objective. All right, I'm going to run out of time here, so I am going to pick up on the next screencast right here.